join me for a calm tale to bring you gentle peace and rest. Yuri and Dand, a tale of reassurance. This story is about Yuri, who finds reassurance and peace with the help of their loving guardian, Dand. Yuri lived in a quaint cottage on the edge of whispering woods, where the leaves rustled secrets and the stars whispered dreams. Each night, as the sky donned its inky glow, Yuri's heart wrapped itself in a blanket of unease. The shadows seemed to stretch across the room, and even the soft glow of the moon couldn't soothe the worries that swirled in Yuri's mind. One evening, as the first tendrils of dusk began to weave through the canopy, Yuri sat by the window, staring out into the deepening twilight. The trees stood tall and silent, yet there was a whisper that grew louder with each passing moment. Yuri's loving guardian, Dand, sensing the apprehension, glided silently into the room. Dand was a marvel, with wings as soft as the night, and eyes that sparkled with wisdom and warmth. Dand's presence alone was enough to calm the fiercest storm within Yuri. "What troubles your heart tonight?" Dand's voice was a gentle melody, each word a note of comfort. Yuri looked into the kind eyes of the loving guardian and sighed. "It's the darkness, Dand. It feels so vast and consuming." Dand nodded, understanding, wrapping their heart like a warm shawl. "The darkness can seem overwhelming," Dand said, "but it is also where dreams are born, and where the stars shine their brightest." With a wave of their hand, Dand conjured a small, glowing orb that floated between them. It cast a gentle light, illuminating the room with a warming glow. "This light," Dand said softly, "is like the hope within you. It never truly goes away, even in the darkest of times." Yuri watched the orb dance and flicker, a smile spreading across their face. "Thank you, Dand," Yuri whispered. "You always know how to bring me peace." Dand smiled warmly. "Remember, dear Yuri, you are never truly alone. The light within you is always there, just as I am always here to help you find it." With those words, Dand wrapped their wings round Yuri, and in that embrace, Yuri felt a profound sense of reassurance. The shadows seemed to retreat, and the room was filled with a comforting glow that promised the dawn would indeed come again. Resting in Dand's embrace, Yuri felt the weight of the day lift. The fears that had seemed so large and insurmountable now felt small and distant. As sleep took over, Yuri dreamt of bright mornings and star-filled nights, knowing that with Dand by their side, they could face whatever darkness the world might bring. And so, in the heart of whispering woods, under a canopy of twinkling stars, Yuri found the peace and reassurance that had been sought. The end. Let's explore the next peaceful journey. A Tale of Euphorbia and Flux, the Magic of Forgiveness. This story is about a human named Euphorbia and a fairy named Flux, who learn the power of forgiveness after an unintentional mistake causes a rift between their worlds. Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a kind-hearted woman named Euphorbia. With her flowing auburn hair and warm brown eyes, she was loved by everyone in the village. Not far away, in an enchanting forest filled with ancient trees and blooming flowers, lived a fairy named Flux. Flux was a tiny, delicate creature with wings that shimmered in the moonlight like silver threads. She wore a dress woven from petals and leaves, and her laughter sounded like the tinkling of little bells. The village and the forest coexisted in harmony until one fateful day, when an unthinkable accident disrupted the peace. Euphorbia had been gathering herbs near the edge of the forest. Her hands were full of rosemary and sage when she accidentally stepped on a patch of sacred fairy mushrooms, crushing them underfoot. Unbeknownst to her, these mushrooms were vital to the fae's magical healing rituals. When Flux discovered the crushed mushrooms, her heart sank. and in her sorrow, she cast a spell that caused the forest's flowers to wilt. Word of Euphorbia's mistake spread quickly, leading to a misunderstanding that accepted the tension between the villagers and the Fae. Feeling guilty, Euphorbia gathered her courage and ventured into the forest to find Phlox. She walked until she reached the clearing, where the moonlight bathed everything in a silver glow. Phlox appeared, her tiny figure trembling with emotion. "I never meant to harm anyone," Euphorbia said softly, her voice barely more than a whisper. "I am truly sorry." Phlox hesitated but then felt the sincerity in Euphorbia's voice. As she fluttered her delicate wings, she realized that holding onto her anger would only bring more sorrow. She took a deep breath and extended her tiny hand in forgiveness. "I accept your apology," said Phlox, her voice like a gentle breeze. "Let us restore what was lost." Together, they worked to replant the fairy mushrooms and breathe new life into the forest. As days turned into weeks, the plants thrived once more, and the bond between the villagers and the Fae grew even stronger. Euphorbia and Phlox's friendship blossomed, showing everyone that forgiveness could heal even the deepest wounds. The village and the forest became symbols of harmony and unity, and the story of Euphorbia and Phlox was told for generations to remind people of the power of forgiveness. The end. Let's move gently to the next heartwarming tale. Lily and Jasmine, a love life full of friendship. This story is about a girl named Lily and a spider named Jasmine, who form a deep bond and build a legacy of friendship by honoring their past. Lily lived in a quaint cottage at the edge of a lush forest. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she found herself mesmerized by the vibrant colors painting the sky. One evening, as she sat by her window, a delicate spider web caught her eye. Intricately woven, its threads shimmered in the twilight. The web belonged to Jasmine, a small but clever spider. Jasmine had lived in the same cottage for several generations of her family. She had heard stories from her grandmother about the kind-hearted girl named Lily, who lived there. Furious and brave, Jasmine decided it was time to meet her. As Lily gazed out of the window, she was startled to see a tiny spider carefully descending on a thin silken thread. "Follows," the spider said softly. Lily blinked in surprise, not expecting the spider to speak. "Hello to you too," Lily replied, her voice kind and welcoming. Lily explained that her family had lived in the cottage for years and had watched over Lily and her ancestors. Intrigued, Lily listened intently as Jasmine recounted the tales of courage, kindness, and love that had been passed down for generations. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Lily and Jasmine grew stronger. Lily learned to appreciate the beauty in small things, like the intricate patterns of a spider's web or the gentle hum of the forest at dusk. Jasmine, in turn, learned about the world outside the cottage through Lily's stories. One day, Lily found Jasmine frantically trying to repair her web. "Oh, my helping," Lily asked softly. "His threads are delicate and precious to me. They remind me of my grandmother and the legacy she left behind when my," Jasmine explained, a hint of sadness in her voice. Lily understood deeply. She gently picked up a fallen thread and handed it to Jasmine. Together, they labored to restore the web to its former glory. As they worked, they discussed the importance of remembering those who came before and cherishing the legacies they left behind. When the web was finally complete, it glittered like a jewel in the moonlight. "Thank you," Jasmine whispered. "This means so much to me," Lily smiled warmly. "It's important to honor our past and the ones we love. Your grandmother would be proud." From that night on, Lily and Jasmine continued to share their lives and stories, building a legacy of their own. The cottage became a place where history and the future intertwined, creating a tapestry woven with threads of love, friendship, and mutual respect. And so, the legacy of Lily and Jasmine, the girl and the spider, lives on in the hearts of all who heard their tale. Another gentle tale is ready to be shared. Sanctuary of Heather and Marigold. This story is about Heather, a human, and Marigold, a harmonious being who discover and protect a magical sanctuary in the forest, fostering a deep friendship and spreading harmony throughout their village. Heather Jones had always felt a deep connection to the forest, bordering her quaint little village. Each morning, she ventured through the trees, breathing in the fresh air and listening to the harmonious symphony of nature. One day, while walking deeper than she had ever dared, she stumbled upon a radiant glow emanating from a grove. Intrigued, she followed the light and discovered a beautiful being named Marigold. Marigold had shimmering wings, delicate as the petals of a flower, and eyes that sparkled with the joy of 1,000 sunsets. "Hello, Heather," Marigold greeted, her voice like the gentle rustling of leaves. "I have been waiting for you." Heather was astonished. "How do you know my name?" she asked. "I know who walked this forest, with a heart as pure as yours," Marigold replied with a serene smile. Heather and Marigold quickly formed a bond. They shared stories of the forest, its mysteries, and the creatures that called it home. Marigold introduced Heather to the secrets of the sanctuary, a hidden place of peace and harmony that could only be seen by those pure of heart. The sanctuary was a breathtaking paradise where flowers bloomed endlessly, streams sparkled like liquid crystals, and birds sang mellifluous tunes. Heather felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. Day by day, Heather and Marigold nurtured their friendship. They tended to the sanctuary, ensuring its beauty and serenity flourish. The forest creatures, sensing the harmony between human and spirit, began to trust Heather, often approaching her with unspoken tales and gentle curiosity. One evening, as they watched the sunset together, Marigold turned to Heather, her eyes reflecting the dusky sky. "This sanctuary must be protected," Marigold said softly, "for it is a haven for all that is good in the world." Heather nodded, understanding the gravity of their task. They vowed to safeguard the sanctuary, knowing that its existence was delicate and precious. Years passed, but the bond between Heather and Marigold only grew stronger. Heather's little village flourished, too, as the harmony from the sanctuary spread, touching every corner of the land. Heather became known as the guardian of the forest, her wisdom and kindness revered by all. Whenever a child asked about the magic of the forest, Heather would smile and say, "Come, let me show you the sanctuary, where the heart of the forest beats." Then so, the legacy of Heather and Marigold lived on, woven into the very fabric of their world, a testament to the purity of heart and the beauty of friendship. Good night, may you find warmth in your rest.